So, Jim, let's talk about when you're first doing this AEW venture. I mean, I think a lot of people probably assumed, well, given his history, he's going to run talent relations. And we know that is not the case. You're going to wind up being, I don't mean this the way it sounds, but quote unquote, just talent. You're
I
not
had no
going
problem.
there.
Excuse me. I had no problem with that. I never signed up to be in charge of talent relations, and I did get that question a lot, and I still get it occasionally. But that was not my goal. My goal was to go back to my roots, and be a broadcaster. That's what brought me to the dance, and that's the music I wanted to hear again. So I had no issues with my assignment, none whatsoever. And work with new guys. I'd never worked with a masked broadcaster like Excalibur, who, by the way, is outstanding. He has a great product knowledge. He's taught me a lot about. Uh, there's Alex Marvez. Look at Alex's button on his coat. God damn, Alex. Stop it. But Excalibur is just really good. He's really, really good. And he's helped me a lot. He's helped me a lot with, you know, with recognizing lucha libre things, all Japan or New Japan things, all Japanese in general. So he's been a great friend and a great asset for me. And we got new sweatshirts.
It tickled me because I know how once upon a time you felt about the cowboy hat, and then eventually it became a signature and a
Oh,
trademark.
yeah.
And when the world was first meeting Excalibur, I saw comment after comment with people saying, how ridiculous does he look out there in a mask? And I'm like, he's sitting next to a guy in a cowboy hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've just gotten used to it. Like, it's a little over the top by design, I think. It's pro wrestling, right?
That's right. Exactly. I had no issue with it. Look, he's just a good guy, man.
Yes.
A good guy. He's smart. He's fair. He's willing to share his knowledge. That's the one thing about being a broadcaster is that you got to be willing to share, and you got to be a good listener, and so everybody, all the dots can be connected when need be, which is most of the time. So Excalibur was a great gift. That was a good hire by Tony Khan, and uh, Mark Letzman is doing a great job. He'll be around for a long time, long after I'm gone.
We should talk about the decision to not be involved in talent relations. You said, hey, I wasn't interested in that. I wanted to go back to my roots. I wanted to focus on being a broadcaster. Had you just had your fill of that in WWE, just all the management and politics and whatnot?
Yeah, I think so. It just wasn't something I was compelled to gravitate toward again. The time I spent in talent relations in WWE were some of the most successful and productive times that anybody in my role could ever have. When I got to AEW, I was always willing. I think my title was senior advisor or something, but I never not uh, gave Tony Khan an idea if I had one, or I have an opinion on a talent that he's bringing in or had brought in. So a lot of little things. That Jack Perry thing was an example. Uh, I thought that at some point in time, for him to grow and become the star that he is today, he needed to be Jack Perry. Good name, and really good name. And I like that kid. I'm sorry that he had so many had issues that were some his doing and some that weren't.
Right.
But I'm a big fan of his work, and he's made himself into a really good pro wrestling heel.
On May 15th, 2019, AEW and Warner Media would announce a deal for a weekly primetime show airing on TNT, which, of course, is the same channel that used to broadcast WCW Monday Nitro. You see the picture there, too. And I got to tell you, like, when I first saw this announcement in front of the Step and Repeat and the upfronts here, and we got the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Cody and Brandy and Dr. Britt Baker, and we got Matt Jackson, and we got Hangman Adam Page. Dana Massey, Matt's wife. No JR. I thought it was interesting that you weren't at the upfronts and you weren't in the press release, but they rattle off all these other names. I mean, it feels like to me that maybe was a missed opportunity. I mean, you're well branded to the
Yeah,
wrestling fans. They're familiar with you as the voice of wrestling and WWE Hall of Famer, and so many grew up on your call. It just felt odd to me that you weren't a part of those. Was
me
that
too.
weird to you, or did you just say, "Hey guys, do it without me. I don't want to go."
No, I didn't say that at all. I wasn't invited to be there. I wasn't booked, as they say in wrestling. I wasn't booked, but if I had been booked, I would have been there. I do believe it would have helped us a little bit because of my name identity and
Mhm.
my exposure over the years. I mean, I had more television time than anybody that Bull showed in that picture.
Right.
Uh, Quality television time. I don't know how many at that point in time. I think I'd broadcast like somebody told me this the other day, and I've never kept track of it, but like 17 WrestleManias.
Wow.
That goes with everything else I've done: SummerSlams, Royal Rumbles, blah blah blah. So I was a little surprised, but my feelings weren't hurt. It's just one less trip I had to make. But I would have certainly been there if asked, and I think I should have been there, quite frankly, in hindsight.
It's interesting to take a look back at this history because it wasn't that long ago, but on some level it feels like forever ago. What did you think about you calling wrestling on a Turner station for the first time in forever? I mean, the last time was 2001 in that simulcast, but realistically, the last time was 1993, and now here you are all these years later. I
Yeah,
don't know that I would have had that on my bingo card.
probably not. I didn't have it on mine either, but I'm glad that I got to put it there. But yeah, it was just a lot of transition, Conrad, a lot of transition, a lot of change. And as a former executive and working directly under Vince McMahon, I just wanted to not be a pain in the ass to Tony Khan as far as management. I tried to make sure that that never happened. And then, he got Tony Schiavone on board. As you see that picture there, we were wearing the same jacket. and and working with Tony was a bonus for me. That is more motivation to bring your A game because I love working with Tony. I work with Tony anywhere, anytime. The Cauliflower Alley Club is naming their announcer award the Jim Ross Award.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
That's kind of cool, and I'm very blessed and very happy. So I get to pick out the first recipient, and I've probably already played my hand, but I'm hoping that scheduling wise, that Tony Schiavone can join us there and be the first recipient of that award. You're getting a little news break here. I haven't talked to Tony,
Wow.
uh, but I think that he would do a great job. Uh, you know, quite frankly, and he deserves it. 40
Yes.
years, 40 years in the business, and he's still productive and he's still viable. And I just have a great regard and respect and fondness for Tony Schiavone. We've been through a lot together, and we've never not been friends. We've never not let any of those office politics, and God knows there are plenty of them in WCW, get in the way of our relationship. So he's very much deserving. I hope I can sell him and convince him to come in for one day, get your award, say a few words, and uh, I, I I'm very pleased that's a great honor. I was talking to Brian Blair the other day, and he's very excited about this opportunity. So it looks like I'll be at the Cauliflower Alley Club this year, and which I'm happy to do, and excited. You can see so many friends there. It's just it's kind of like a personal appearance on steroids. It's just it's just hard to beat. It's just really hard to beat. So, but I love Tony like a little brother, and he's still a hell of an announcer and does a great job. I'm really really proud of. I didn't like there was an interlude there where might have been Brooke, uh, might have been the baddest bitch on the block idea, but when they made fun of him being a barista, I didn't like that. I didn't like it at all. And because I felt like it was degrading to Tony. And all Tony was trying to do was make a living.
Yeah.
That's all. Simple as that. Same as the rest of us, make a living. And him being made fun of to a certain degree of his coffee shop experience, Starbucks experience, whatever it may be, was uncomfortable for me.